This is the planet we live on. This is our warm, cozy, familiar home. Nevertheless, when we look up at the night sky, we often wing the question. Are humans as small as dust in the universe? Is the universe nice and cozy, or is it full of hazardous? We could stand here in reverie forever. Or you can leave this beach. Take off the earth. We're about to embark on a journey to the edge of the universe. To explore the wonders of the universe. Facing the dangers of the universe. There's a beautiful new world out there. Also people are afraid of mystery. Forces. And the origin of time. As well as the end of the world. Do we have the courage to go through all of this? Still stopping for fear? To find the answer, there's only one way we can do this. This is where we started. The universe is about 100 kilometers above our heads. It's only an hour's drive from Earth. Life on Earth, it's the same as always. Traffic is still heavy. The stock market is still trading. Various TV programs are also still on. Still, we have to leave it all behind. The first stop was the moon. Before us, a total of 27 American astronauts have traveled to the moon. 12 of them have set foot on the moon. Apollo astronauts use radio to communicate with Ground Command Center. Although radio signals travel at the same speed as light, 300,000 kilometers per second. But a message from the moon still takes more than a second to reach Earth. That's why the information received by the Ground Command Center is always one step behind. The moon looks like a desolate battlefield. Millions of meteoroids and asteroids have collided to make this place uneven. But right now it's very peaceful. It's obvious. There hasn't been a violent collision here in millions of years. This is the Apollo 11 lunar module. This is astronaut Armstrong on the moon. Footprints left behind. Since there's no wind here, these footprints won't blow away. That's why they've been able to keep it up for millions of years. Present. We will also be taking our first steps in the cosmic, great step. It's a journey through the universe like no other. Appearing in the darkness is Venus. Venus is also known as the Star of Enlightenment and the longest giant, small amount. Venus is the brightest planet in our solar system. The clouds on the surface of Venus are orange-yellow. Thick clouds reflect a lot of sunlight. Venus is very close to Earth in size and gravity. But scientists have found Venus orange-yellow clouds are full of deadly sulfuric acid. Furthermore, Venus also has a very high concentration of carbon dioxide in its atmosphere. Venus is a very dangerous planet. It's not just the atmosphere that's toxic. Extremely high air pressure. Surface temperature, also close to 500 degrees Celsius. If one stays too long in Venus, not only will we be corrupted, it's suffocating. It'll be crushed. It's even burnt. It would be difficult for any life to adapt to this environment. Even the Venus probe launched by the Soviet Union was not spared. Its thick shell has been damaged by Venus' atmosphere. Earth. Venus is very beautiful. But when viewed up close, we found thousands of volcanoes that have left countless scars on the surface of Venus. Extremely high levels of carbon dioxide in Venus' atmosphere can lock in heat from the sun. That's why the greenhouse effect is so strong on Venus. Before that, maybe Venus is also a planet with the right temperature. Just like our planet. If that's the case, then Venus present may be Earth's future. It is the sun that determines the ultimate fate of the stars. Exist, before reaching the sun. We'll start with Mercury. Mercury is the smallest planet in our solar system. Due to its proximity to the sun, Mercury's temperature is extremely variable. The temperature at night is only -170 degrees Celsius. It's over 400 degrees Fahrenheit at noon. Mercury undergoes the test of fire and ice. It seems to have a troubled past. This is the Messenger Mercury probe. Courier's observations show that, although Mercury is small, it has a surprisingly strong gravitational pull. Therefore its mass should be greater than it appears to be. Mercury used to be much larger than it is now. What we're seeing now is just the original core of Mercury. So where did the rest of Mercury go? Maybe it's feasible. There was a collision with Mercury. Mercury's shell was shattered as a result. The reason why, now all that remains is a core made almost entirely of metal. The sun emits a dazzling light. The sun affects everything on Earth. We can't survive without it. Since ancient times, in any human civilization, the sun has taken an important place. It nourishes the crops. To bring light to the earth. Become an object of faith and worship. The Sun is 150 million kilometers from the Earth. If traveling by air, we need 20 meters to get here. Because the Sun is so far away. If it goes out, we won't find out until 8 minutes from now. The Sun is so huge, it could hold 1,000,000 Earths. Its powerful gravity controls the entire solar system. We see the Sun every day. It's a familiar face in the sky. But when viewed up close, we barely recognize the Sun. Dangerous hot gases are everywhere. Surface temperature of the Sun, over 5,000 degrees Celsius. The temperature in the center is tens of millions of degrees Celsius. The central region of the Sun is constantly undergoing nuclear reactions. Converts millions of tons of matter into energy every second. That's more energy than all the energy mankind has produced so far. When this energy reaches the Earth, it becomes the light we see. Perceived, heat up. As we approach the Sun, it makes us feel very unstable. The Sun's electromagnetic activity is very high. It'll explode into a ring of hot gas. That's Germanic. Every day Zeer can be released, more energy than 10 million volcanic eruptions. The diameter of each day is tens of thousands of kilometers larger than the Earth. Be situated at, below the region where the solar oracle is located is the lower temperature photosphere. Sunspots are in the photosphere. Sunspots are slightly cooler than their surroundings, that's why it looks black. They're hotter than anywhere else on the planet. The size of the blackout is pretty huge. Some of the blacks are at least 50,000 kilometers across. Enough to swallow the Earth. It's the Sun that wants the board. This superheated, electrically charged gas stream emits a deadly, radiate. Nevertheless, the Sun's fuel will run out someday. Until then, the Sun will no longer photothermia. The life on Earth will also be destroyed. The Sun creates life. It can also end a life. It's all about how close we are to it. Being too close to the Sun. This comet was vaporized by the heat of the Sun, creating a comet tail millions of kilometers long. The temperature on the comet is very low. That's because comets are made of frozen material and dust. The reason for the vapor, dust, and intermittent lights on comets. It's because the Sun melted the frozen comet. Comet hop is like a giant snowball wrapped in asphalt. The fine particles on the rendezvous look a lot like organic matter. A low-temperature environment is one that preserves. Maybe when the solar system first formed, and the comet appeared. If such a comet had hit the Earth billions of years ago, it may have brought organic matter and water to the planet. And these are the foundations of life. Satellites may have thus sown the seeds of life on Earth. These seeds evolved into the human beings of today. But, what if a comet hit the present Earth? Think of the dinosaurs that went extinct 65 million years ago when a comet or asteroid hit the Earth. We'll see. That's never good. It's really just a matter of time. Unless we can find a way to protect ourselves. Otherwise, one day we'll face the same fate as the dinosaurs. It seems that the Earth is still safe. Nevertheless, once life on Earth is threatened with death, we'll have to flee the planet, finding a new home. Of the millions, if not billions, of planets, there's gotta be a planet that's the right temperature and full of sunlight, air and water. The red planet is Mars. For centuries, we've been looking for companions on Mars. Search for the existence of life, signal. This sounds like science fiction. But today's astronomers believe the likelihood of finding extraterrestrial life on Mars is perhaps the highest. Scientists continue to explore the planet. Maybe they're onto something. Mars is the star that inspires our imagination the most. When it comes to sci-fi movies and comics, we then associate Martian. Only, those are fictional. But if there really is life on Mars, de facto, the evolutionary process that made Earth habitable stopped on Mars hundreds of millions of years ago. Modal particle intensifying preceding clause. The lifeless red planet Mars has become a giant fossil. But there's still wind. This is castles on Mars. It's bigger than the biggest tornado on Earth. There is much. Where there's wind, there's atmosphere. That might sustain alien life. But the air on Mars is too thin for humans. And the carbon dioxide content is high enough to suffocate. There's nothing on Mars that can protect this place. Protection of organisms from ultraviolet light, injuries. And Mars is cold. Surface temperatures as low as -80 degrees Celsius. As a result, the water underground and at both levels froze. It's hard to believe that life could survive on Mars. On Earth, whether it's extreme heat or cold, or the deepest, darkest, life exists in the trench. Even in the most extreme environments, life on Earth can find a way to survive. But Mars is different. There's no geological activity here. So the soil is not rich in minerals and nutrients. There's no heat on Mars that could melt the ice. There's nothing here but a dust bowl in the sky. Makes it hard to see where we're going. But the surface of Mars is dotted with some magnificent landscapes. Like this Mount Olympus. It's a huge, old volcano. It is about the height of Mount Everest. Of 3 times. This volcano shows no signs of activity. That's why it's always been considered an extinct volcano. In general, the lava flow should have solidified long ago. Under the impact of a meteorite, traces of the lava flow should have disappeared long ago. Unless it's not an extinct volcano. If that's the case, that means there could be molten magma underneath the Martian crust. And volcanic activity can melt the ice in the soil. So that life can survive in the soil. Compare that to this huge canyon on Mars. America's Grand Canyon is like a crack in the pavement. This canyon goes on forever. Long enough, across North America. Some erosion can be seen here. Like a dry riverbed. There seems to be real volcanic activity. Melting the ice in the soil. So that the water flows into this canyon. If liquid water does exist on Mars, then we'll probably find life again. So people continue to look for. This is NASA's Opportunity Mars rover. He's looking for evidence on Mars. To prove that these barren plains were once lakes or oceans. And there may have been life in these swims. When the Mars rover passes through this area, there are always newly formed ditches to be found. There is growing evidence that Mars may not be dead. Still full of life. There may be water flowing under the surface. And the flowing water not only creates these ditches, it could also sustain life on Mars. Now all we have to do is find these lives. Maybe we found these beings. Because Mars is probably the birthplace of life on Earth. That sounds like a fantasy. But life originated on Mars. The theory of a subsequent migration to the Earth, however, exists. This theory suggests that the asteroid impact was the result of Mars debris with microbes flying into space. And then it landed on Earth. And then there's life. No wonder we find Mars so fascinating. It may be the home of our ancestors. If this is true, that means we're all Martian. We thought Mars was a lifeless planet. But it may be more dynamic than we thought. Mars may be the most studied star in the solar system. But there are still a lot of questions that confuse us. There must be other galaxies on Mars waiting to be discovered. Everything in front of me looks like a scene from a computer game. These make the asteroid. Some asteroids are thousands of meters long. The asteroid is about 30 kilometers long. Look here. Placement of a probe on an asteroid traveling at 80,000 kilometers per hour. It's not going to be easy. These asteroids collide. Splinter. And then it fell to the ground. Perish. Planets are formed when pieces of asteroids like this come together. So is our planet. By determining the age of meteorites on Earth, we know that the planets formed 4.5 billion years ago. These asteroids are like birth certificates for the solar system. But for some reason, they didn't form planets. There must be some powerful force stopping these little fresheners. That's what Jupiter, the behemoth of. And at least 1,000 times larger than the Earth. Big enough to hold all the other planets in our solar system. A planet of this magnitude would have a major impact on the surrounding celestial bodies. Its gravity organizes asteroids to come together as planets. The massive planet Jupiter is composed almost entirely of gas. If we land here, we'll be caught in the layers of gas that make up Jupiter. Can't ever land on the hard surface of Jupiter. The strong hurricanes on Jupiter create its beautiful appearance. Jupiter's rotation is extremely fast. Giant peaks traveling at thousands of kilometers per hour are capable of twisting clouds into strips and large-sized, when the swirling. This is Jupiter's Great Red Spot. The Great Red Spot is the largest storm in the solar system. At least 3 times the size of the Earth. This storm has been going on for over 300 years. Boil, cloud cover, it triggered thunderstorms. Any bolt of lightning is 10,000 times more powerful than one on Earth. When observing the model, the safest thing to do is to stay far away. These lights are like the aurora borealis on Earth, constantly shining at Jupiter's poles. But these lasers are very dangerous. Jupiter's powerful magnetic fields attract deadly radiation from space, which in turn creates these auroras. Beautiful when viewed from a distance. It's scary when you look at it up close. Everything in the universe isn't what they seem. It's a place of contradictions. We must, gently and cautiously, advancement. Jupiter's 62 satellites, shuttle between. Maybe Jupiter. There are more satellites than that. This brightly colored satellite is called Io. 1. Same as Jupiter. Its beauty is only skin deep. These beautiful colors represent lava, sulfur, and volcanoes. Volcanic eruption. Our hot ash and sulfur are blasted hundreds of thousands of meters into the air. Jupiter's powerful gravitational pull constantly squeezes and distorts the wooden tail. The resulting friction is great enough to melt the interior of this satellite. Hitherto, on this journey to the edge of the universe, we haven't found any alien life yet. Nor have we found any place we can call home. But the universe is full of planets and moons. On the other side of the horizon, there's always a world of endless possibilities. For example, Jupiter's other moon, Wood, Tails,